law enforcement officers refused to enforce the law. It all started with a simple plan: a grandfather wanting to share a moment of joy with his grandson. Christopher C. Taylor, a Vietnam veteran facing both physical and psychological challenges, decided to take his grandson to K&B's Inflatables, Please, a bounce house and family entertainment center nestled within Nittany Mall. Taylor relies on his Labrador retriever Zeke for mobility and PTSD. What should have been a fun outing quickly devolved into a frustrating and, for Taylor, discriminatory experience. As he attempted to enter the establishment on February the 13th, 2022, Taylor was met with resistance. He said he was told quite bluntly that dogs weren't permitted due to insurance restrictions. Despite his efforts to explain that Zeke was a trained service animal, he was reportedly told to leave. The situation escalated when Taylor was told he'd be arrested if he didn't leave the premises. Adding to the confusion, Taylor claimed that a security officer acknowledged K&B was in the wrong, but asserted that the mall itself couldn't intervene. Frustrated and feeling unjustly treated, Taylor dialed 911, resulting in the arrival of State College police officer Amanda Estep. The subsequent 14-minute interaction between Taylor and Officer Estep, captured on the officer's body camera, became a critical piece of evidence in Taylor's lawsuit. Officer Estep, during their discussion, informed Taylor that she'd create a report which he could subpoena for a civil proceeding. She also spoke with K&B owners Keith Schulman and Rebecca Boiling, who confirmed that they have no issue with service dogs, but that their insurance policy prohibited them. Taylor's initial lawsuit named both K&B's Inflatables, Please, and the State College Borough as defendants. A borough in Pennsylvania is like a city or municipality in other states. Taylor argued that Officer Estep's failure to enforce the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, and the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act constituted discrimination. However, U.S. Middle District Judge Julia K. Munley's recent ruling shifted the focus of the legal proceedings. Judge Munley decided to grant the borough's motion to dismiss the borough from the case, claiming that local police officers are not required to enforce the ADA. The judge pointed out that ADA enforcement primarily falls to the affected individual or the Federal Department of Justice. Okay, did you hear what I just said? The judge said enforcement falls primarily with the individual who was discriminated against? Seriously? And we know the Justice Department doesn't investigate every case because they aren't manned for that, and they don't have law enforcement officers on call. So the individual either has their rights violated or has to fork out a bunch of money to take the violator to court themselves. The judge also stated that while the Pennsylvania Human Relations Act addresses service dogs, enforcement is typically handled by the Attorney General's office or the courts. So when you're standing at the entrance of a business being illegally denied access, you have to call the Attorney General to come down and inform the business that what you're telling them about your rights is correct? Judge Munley carefully reviewed the body camera footage of the interaction between Taylor and Officer Estep. She concluded that the officer had not threatened to arrest Taylor as he had claimed. Instead, the footage revealed that Officer Estep had correctly advised Taylor that the matter was a civil issue, not a criminal one. Therefore, the judge determined that Taylor had not presented sufficient evidence to demonstrate that Officer Estep had discriminated against him. Contempt of court is a civil issue, but people can be arrested and go to jail for it. So why is this civil issue different? So with the borough now dismissed from the lawsuit in 2025, Taylor's focus has turned entirely to K&B's Inflatables, Please. He's filed a motion for default judgment citing the business's failure to respond to his amended complaint filed in May of 2023. Taylor's motion seeks damages to be determined by the court and a permanent injunction to prevent K&B from discriminating against disabled customers with service animals in the future. He'd attempted to file a default judgment previously, but it was denied pending the resolution of the claims against the borough. The fact that the police, despite their involvement, were ultimately deemed not responsible for enforcing federal disability laws shocked many, exposing a gap in public understanding. And the business's apparent inaction, leading to a default judgment motion, raises questions about accountability and respect for the legal process.